got to talk about what is going on in Bitcoin right now. We are at new all time highs, and this is pretty good, but it was definitely expected. We had a nice recovery. So, anyways, remember, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice, but look at this. This is huge. So, all the way from April till now, we've been on a straight uptrend, right? All the way from April till about May. And then you're going to see that we kind of went sideways for a little bit, went down to 98K, but then we had a recovery. Now we're hitting new all-time highs here. So Bitcoin actually went all the way up here to about 112K. So it just very briefly touched it. Some people would say 112K, some people would say lower, but it all depends what exchange you're looking at it on. But when looking at it from the Bitstamp point of view, we see 112K pretty much very briefly got hit, and then we got rejected from there pretty much. So you got all the way up here, just barely touched 112K. And then you can see it went back down to the support at 111K. But this is a very good sign because it actually shows we have the strength to get higher and higher. You actually look over here at the MACD, you can see the MACD is looking very bullish. Definitely very overbought here on the MACD, but not as overbought as it could be, which shows us that we actually might have more strength to the upside. We actually might see a larger increase in the price here with Bitcoin. So I think that we have the possibility to get all the way up to about 119 to 120K. And just looking at this, you can kind of see like from here to here to here, you can see that we were way more overbought in this area here. Then we kind of pulled back from there. Then we had some more buying and then we pulled back a little bit more. Now we have more buying here. But you can also try to spin this and say, hey, what if this is a double top and we get rejected here and we go down? At this moment, it does not look like that. But if you were just to look at the MACD and you would look at this, you could say, hey, possibly it is a double top. But the fact that we've actually broke past this trend line here on the MACD kind of shows that it might not be a double top because you can see one of the blue lines here has broke past the trend line on the MACD and now the orange line is going to follow it. And you actually might see overbuying happening here on the MACD and you actually might see that price increasing because of that, because we've actually broken out. See, if we went through this trend line here on the MACD and it did not break out and it actually went down to the downside and you see more selling happening and overselling happening for the MACD, then that would actually deem itself a double top. But the fact that it did not do that, it touched this once, twice, and then the third time it actually broke past the trend line, that kind of shows us that this is probably not going to be a double top and this is actually a real breakout. That's what that is showing us. And then if you look over here at the RSI, you can kind of see the same thing where we haven't necessarily had a major breakout to the point where we're overbought. We're right at that point where if we keep going a little bit higher here on the RSI, we could eventually reach that overbought area. But this is definitely a good sign though. We're seeing very good messages coming from the MACD. So this is very bullish. Right now we should be heading closer towards 119K before we even see another pullback. So hopefully we see 119K soon. And it might happen a little faster than a lot of people are expecting for quite a few reasons. And that's one of these is that so Bitcoin price hits record high as ETF demand overwhelms bearish market setup. So the retail traders are pretty much bearish, and the retail traders, they're probably shorting it, right? But the ETF demands are very high, which means that it's not retail traders pushing this up higher. It's actually institutional investors pushing it higher with the ETF flows. So it says Bitcoin has officially entered price discovery mode, breaking its May high as bearish indicators fail to contain ETF led flows. Growing corporate balance sheet adoption and macro tailwinds. So traders who bet against the breakout are now fueling the rally's next leg. So yeah, traders who are betting against it, the pretty much the people with the big money, they're taking your money, right? You're trying to trade against it, you're trying to short it, but they're like, nah, it's not going that way. We're taking your money, give us liquidity. They're taking the money from y'all, all right? But yeah, on July 19th, Bitcoin surged over 2% to trade just above its prior all-time high of 111K, set in May 9th. The rally defied a wall of skepticism. Short interest had climbed to 35 billion ahead of the move, while technical indicators flashed bearish divergence. So yes, that's exactly what I was just now saying. Like if you look at the technical indicators, it kind of showed you that we were actually setting up to break down to the downside. But the institutional investors with their ETFs, they kind of caused this to rise. So we were actually supposed to break down here with some selling. And no, that didn't happen. We got to this third line here on our MACD, and you can see like it just literally shot straight up. It was not supposed to do that. Like this was a bearish setup. We were supposed to be bearish here, but you can even see it here. This was supposed to be bearish, but no, they've just put the money in it and they just made it flow higher. So, anyways, Bitcoin's all-time high could be seen as confirmation that institutional capital flows. This is a huge, huge fact right here, though. Or I guess you can say it's a huge factor. Now, institutional capital flows, not retail leverage, now dictates the crypto's inflection points. So the original cryptocurrency entered into the uncharted territory amid a macro environment clouded by hawkish labor data and a sudden drop in rate cut expectations, defying short-term bearish sentiment that had gripped the markets earlier in the week. So institutional investors are just going to drive this higher and higher and higher. So institutional tsunami, macro tailwinds defy bearish resistance. Bitcoin's breakout comes at a time when the traditional drivers of crypto rallies, such as halving narratives and speculative retail euphoria, have been sidelined by more durable capital flows. So, as you can see, we are definitely pumping because the institutional investors, the ETFs, like the retail traders aren't feeling this, is pretty much what they're saying. Retail traders really are not trying to buy all the way up here at these highs, but the institutional investors are, because they understand if they hold for 10 plus years, it's not going to matter where they buy it as long as they buy it. And that's pretty much how they're looking at this. So this is a good thing for Bitcoin. You're going to see it going up to 119K here eventually. And then after that, I've been mentioning this inside my previous videos. I think at the most for this rally, we might see 150K. There is that possibility that we get up to 130 after 118, 119K. And then we have the Fibonacci all the way up here at about 190K. So we are looking at about 130K if we can break 118, 119K. But 119K is that current area that we really need to focus on. So I would say don't really focus on anything else but that area. That is like the main area. And then everything else is also pumping alongside of Bitcoin, and they're pumping way more than Bitcoin, like Ethereum, 7% in the last 24 hours. XRP is doing well. Solana, everything is doing good. Each and every single coin is doing good here. Obviously, you have some coins like here and there that aren't doing that well, like Bonk. But Bonk did 25% in the last 7 days. So Bonk is still inside of a good space right now. But yeah, crypto is doing extremely well. So yeah, that's very, very good. Anyways, this is all I got for y'all today. I just kind of wanted to bring this to your attention. So a lot of big changes will be coming to the channel soon in the near future. Definitely stick around, hit the like button, and subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice. And as always, I'll be back with another video.